Little Round Top, the South's best chance at Gettysburg, Avalon Hill. So setting up the game. At the start of the game, both players set up their units on the map within the following restrictions. Additional units may also enter the game as reinforcements. Before you start, you want to figure out which optional rules. There are 3 of them you want to use, and I'll look at those specifically separately. After both players have set up, play begins with the Confederate player turn of game turn 1. There is no Union player turn on game turn 1, which makes sense. Union setup, 20th Maine. It's all companies and officers set up as shown on the map facing south. So just there's a north-seeking arrow up there in that corner of the map, facing that's north. So all the Union companies and commanders are set up facing south. The setup information is printed very clearly on the map. There's fairly large text here. C and G for C and G companies here. 20th Maine. 20th Maine is right here on the map, printed on the map. And 83rd Pennsylvania is up here on the map. Nice, clear to read, but not distracting either. It's in black text. In looking at, so I wanted to look more at the 20th Maine. When I looked up in my Gettysburg Companion, 20th Maine, I ran into some interesting background on Colonel Strong Vincent on the Union side, and that got me to, the book said, the Gettysburg Companion talks about how Colonel Vincent Strong's role in the defense of Little Round Top has been overshadowed by Colonel Chamberlain, 20th Maine right here. So I looked at Chamberlain here and I was like, whoa, that's pretty impressive. Command point allowance of 30 and a command radius of 6. That's interesting. So let's compare Chamberlain to the Confederate Oates, Colonel Oates, 15th Alabama. Both have a command span or command radius of 6. Colonel Oates is 5 points behind Chamberlain in command point allowance. But that made me but when I saw that command point allowance of 25 for Oates, I was reminded of what I read recently in my Gettysburg Companion here about Oates. So I think this is interesting. Let's compare this passage with his command point allowance of 25, and frankly even his command span, command radius of 6. What do they call it? They call it a command point total and command radius. I should get that right. Okay. So Oates's leadership up to the actual start of his attacks was anything but inspiring. He was personally extremely unfit. In one account, he had to be helped up the hill. Then he wanted to rest and sit on the summit of Round Top to defend it rather than continuing the advance. Indeed, he had to be ordered to get moving. Then on the way down toward the saddle, so that would be the saddle is in that direction. He sent Company A. So here's Company A, 15th Alabama, right there. He sent Company A on a wagon hunting expedition, thus depriving himself of 50 or 60 men from his already depleted command. 50 or 60 men. Each strength point is 10 men. So I guess the strength of Alpha Company is given as 40. Maybe the designer rounds down for maybe taking out maybe direct combatants. I don't know. Depends on how you want to look at that. As a matter of fact, well, 15th Alabama altogether. $499. Wonder if that so that should be 50 strength points. So I'm going to do a quick, I'm going to eyeball this. This is 10, 20, 30, 40, 48. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty darn close, actually. Okay, never mind. Overall, it's pretty close. Once the fighting started, Oates showed much more spirit. There we go. Although he was unable to coordinate his actions with the tiny 47th Alabama on his left, theoretically under his orders. Now that's interesting. I wonder if the game is going to have something on that. At the end of it, he was physically a spent force and temporarily handed over command to a captain. All right, so that's Oates. I did note that detail. So Oates continued to serve as a regimental commander until he lost an arm, his fifth and most debilitating wound, in August 1864. After the war, he resumed his law practice and was elected to the House of Representatives and later served as a short period as governor of Alabama. He married a beautiful woman half his age and was promoted brigadier general in 1898, age 65, during the Spanish-American War. He never saw action but quipped, "I'm now a Yankee general, formerly a rebel colonel, and right each time." He died on September 9th, 1910, and was buried with full military honors. So let's talk about plans and orders. I guess the overriding theme here is that the assaults on Little Round Top were not pre-planned or ordered. On the contrary, they were the result of changed circumstances as the advance developed into a stiff fight for ground that the rebel commanders had originally thought unoccupied. Meade, however, had always intended Little Round Top to be occupied and defended, and he had given instructions to that effect to Sickles. Okay, so plans and orders. The Confederate plan for Longstreet's Corps to attack the Union left at the Peach Orchard could not be implemented as the Yankees were not where they were supposed to be. Nevertheless, Longstreet overrode Hood, who protested 3 times, insisting General Lee's orders are to attack up the Emmitsburg Road. But that is not what happened. Both of Longstreet's divisions were deployed south of the Peach Orchard, with the Emmitsburg Road actually angled through Hood's division. To attack up that road would mean the Corps advancing across it, then doing a massive left wheel. If that was the intention, then the enemy positions prevented it. The advance started as a frontal one in echelon from the right and immediately came up against the enemy in strength in Rose Woods and Houck Ridge. Further right, Law's brigade clashed with U.S. sharpshooters. Law, who had personally objected to Hood over the attack up the Emmitsburg Road plan, afterward considered his task was to take Round Top as the key to the position. There is no mention of wheeling up the Emmitsburg Road in Law's account, entitled The Struggle for Round Top. It seems none of the regimental commanders of Hood's division were given any orders as to their objectives. Their reports make no mention of a left wheel at all, it seemed, were content to advance forward until the enemy was struck. Oates later stated, "No communication as to what was intended to be done was made to the regimental commanders until after the advance began, although this was far from unusual." As the advance pressed forward, Smith's guns on the southern edge of the Houck Ridge proved extremely damaging, and Law ordered his 2 right-hand regiments, 44th and 48th Alabama, to wheel half left to help deal with them. The remainder of the brigade continued east toward the Round Tops. According to Oates, writing many years after the war, it was about this time that he received the first of 2 specific orders. Quote, "Before we reach the Plum Run," so the Plum Run is off the map over here, over there, General Law ordered me to keep my right close to the base of Round Top. Round Top, I think, would be off the map in that direction, so southwest, off that direction, I think, is Round Top. Penetrate the valley between the mountains. Oates did not comply as he was concerned about the Yankee sharpshooters on his right, and instead pressed on up the slopes of Round Top. His second order arrived as he and his men rested to catch their breath on the summit. Law's aide, Captain Terrell, told him that Law was now the divisional commander. Hood had been injured, and Oates was to press on, turn the Union left, capture Little Round Top if possible, and to lose no time. Okay. So 83rd Pennsylvania. This is 83rd Pennsylvania, way up here on the northwest side of the map. There being a gap here between the 20th Maine and the 83rd, a gap of 3 hexes there. Ground scale again is 20 yards per hex, so we're talking 60 yards between the two regiments. There are three companies and a captain for the 83rd. Captain Jones here, 15 command point, total of 15, and command radius of 4. Then we have 1 company, 2 company, 3 company. So companies A, B, and C and Captain Jones set up as shown on the map facing south. Additional companies of the regiment enter the game as reinforcements on game turn 4. There we go. That's why I was wondering, because, let me see, 83rd, so here we have E company, D company, whoops, D company, okay, so 2 more companies, so A, B, C, D, and E, okay. So these will be reinforcements, and I was wondering about that, because, well, let me look at this again. Should be about, what's that? So, reinforcements, each 3 strength points each. So 6 strength points, about 60 soldiers come on as reinforcements later. Add to that 3, 3, and 3. So, what was that, 15? Yeah, 5 companies, 3 strength points each for 15 strength points. So altogether, 150 men. And I've got the total losses for 83rd Pennsylvania is 55. So just over a third casualties. So that's set up. The rebel units that start on the map. We have the 4th Alabama here. They set up anywhere west of hex 06. This is 06 here. That's 06. And south of the 06. And south of the 08 row. That's that right there. Okay, so the Confederate soldiers fought hard and well. This is the overall action, which would include more fighting off the northwest side of the map here. At times getting to within a few paces of the defenders, and but for the timely arrival of the 140th New York, which I don't think is covered at all in this game, might well have secured the hill. However, they were fighting under several disadvantages. First, their numbers only exceeded the enemies by the equivalent of 1 regiment at most. When the 450 men of the 140th New York appeared, the rebels were outnumbered. There was little or no supporting gunfire to soften up the defenders, who were well posted behind rocks and could only be reached after a stiff climb. So that's what the Confederates are looking at right here.